Alright, back to the last video for the chapter. Well, the last PowerPoint video. We'll work a problem or two maybe. So, multiple regression. It is most definitely possible that you will have more than one explanatory variable for your costs. Alright, so up till now we've assumed there's one driver. Like for example, number of units of pencils you output. Right? So that's great. If there's just one driver for your cost object and that's numbers of pencils, then great. Use linear regression, least squares analysis, right? Just one variable. But let's face it, especially if we're doing this activity-based costing, right, where we have multiple activities, we're going to have multiple drivers for our total cost. So in this example, we have the number of moves and the number of pounds moved. So there's two things, right? Because it's, yeah, you can have more moves if you have more pounds, but there's going to be some minimum number of pounds that you move each time, but that is a variable cost. So here's two different drivers. So if you take our original formula for a line, y equals intercept plus slope times our one variable, well, we just have a second variable, right? So y equals f plus slope of x1 plus slope of x2. So we just have two variables. All right, so just adding that other one explains more, right? It makes sense, right? Like, well, if I've used one variable, I've explained a lot. We saw we had that r square of 86%, but it wasn't perfect. Is there something else we can find that helps us explain more? All right, so it's not that much harder. I mean, really, you just have an additional column of numbers. So if you don't have to do this in Excel, but if you were doing this, really, it's just like, here's another aspect of my data. So we still have our cost, right? But now we've got number of moves and pounds moved. All right, you know, who knows? This cost may increase because maybe it takes more guys to move heavier loads, and so you have to pay more people or something, right? I mean, it just makes sense that, yeah, you might have one move, but if that move weighed less, it costs less to move. All right, so we're going to add this other variable, how many pounds we moved. Still number of moves, how many pounds materials cost. All right, so now we've got basically three variables, our y, x1, and x2. All right, so we run it in Excel or whatever you like, SAS, anything. Lots of ways to do regression analysis. And if you look at this output, check out our R-square now. It's 99%. We've explained almost all of it. So that's pretty amazing. If you look down here at our p-values, they're really, really small. I mean, this is like to the -8, so that's like getting down into nothing, right? That would be move that decimal point over 8, right? So that's very small. That's very statistically significant, is what that means. All right, so that's your output. So I expect you to be able to say, okay, y total cost equals our intercept of 507.30. So 507.30 are your fixed costs, right? That's the intercept. And your slope of line 1 is $7.83. So variable 1 variable costs are $7.83, variable 2 costs are 10 cents. So by adding that second variable, we now understand that variable costs increased by pounds as well as number of moves. All right, so interpreting that under the coefficients, you would write it 507 plus 784 times however many variable x plus 0.11 times however many variable 2. So now you've made a better equation and it fits better. P-value is all very good. statistic drops to 7 degrees of freedom. I guess we didn't really talk about degrees of freedom, but hopefully you learned that in statistics. Degrees of freedom is used to calculate the t-test. It's simply number of observations minus number of variables. So we have 3 variables, right? There we go. Whoops, sorry. 3 variables, 1, 2, 3. So we have 10 observations, minus 3 is equal to 7, that's degrees of freedom. And it's used to calculate the t-statistic, but I won't make you do that, but I would expect you to know what degrees of freedom are. Alright, so I would say your next step is to try to work some of the homework, or maybe watch me work a homework problem. Alright, good luck.